Ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time, so I'm going to make my closing remarks very brief. I think you will all agree with me that over the last 2 days, we have been extraordinarily fortunate to participate in these proceedings. These proceedings will, we hope, prove not only to have been extraordinary in terms of what we've heard and the evidence that has been led, but may even be historic. The Universal Declaration of the Rights of Mother Earth, which, as you heard, was approved in Cochabamba in Bolivia in 2010, has created a manifesto for earth justice for organizations and people all over the world. But what has happened here today and yesterday has been the consolidation of that effort by the establishment of the tribunal, the formal establishment of the tribunal, because it already existed, by the People's Convention, which entered into force yesterday. And this represents a significant step forward, because it is an example to people everywhere how when the governments of the world fail, we can step forward as people and begin to create the world that we want to see. We can create people's institutions, we can enter into agreements ourselves and begin to create the future that we want. More than 80 people from many different countries in the world have participated in these proceedings as judges, as experts, as presenters, prosecutors, etc. So I think we can safely say that this is a truly international tribunal, and it's been wonderful to hear the stories from all over the world coming together. And what they've shown us is that if you had any doubts about this before, we are facing systemic problems. We are facing deep-rooted problems in the dominant civilizations which need to be addressed. Roots which are not only to do with environmental degradation, but also affect issues of patriarchy and the military. So the first point is inescapable. This is a systemic issue, and the responses must be systemic. And if anybody came here with any doubts about human rights and the rights of nature being different, I think that they must have been dispelled. Everybody has demonstrated that they are inseparable. As Chief Seattle has reported to have said so long ago, what befalls the earth befalls the children of the earth. And the evidence has been harrowing. We've all been through an emotional journey. Sometimes it has evoked anger, sometimes heartbreak and sorrow. We've heard about the attacks on the defenders of the earth, and we've heard about the attacks on the earth. And can you imagine how much deeper and intense this journey would have been if all our relations had been able to come here and testify? If the fish and the birds and the trees and the creatures in the soil had been able to come here and tell us about how they are experiencing the assault on Mother Earth. If they had been able to talk about the destruction of their homes, the poisoning of their children, and the extinction of their species. So the findings which flow from this evidence are damning. There is no doubt about it that we are experiencing systematic violations of the rights of Mother Earth. Almost all beings on the planet are affected, and almost every single article in the Universal Declaration has been violated, as you have heard. So the judgments, which you've heard a few, are intended to show a way forward. They are about holding people accountable and organizations, but they are also intended to point a path to the future. This is the direction in which we must head if we are going to allow Mother Earth to heal herself. But many will say, but so what? You don't have the power to enforce these judgments. You don't have a police force. You don't have prisons. And of course, that thinking comes from the coercive mindset which dominates the planet. The belief that you can only enforce judgments by force. But that's not what we're trying to do. We are trying to show a way forward which is so powerful that people all over the world will join behind it and say that's got to be a better way. that we will build a force by consensus which will drive these decisions into our society and change the fundamental norms. The tribunal and its decisions on the basis of the evidence of the people from around the world will begin the process, will strengthen the process of changing social norms. It will change what is acceptable. Many of the practices that you have heard will no longer be acceptable in a few years' time, and even less in the next generation. And what we also have on our side is, of course, the remarkable power of people. Because one of the things that always makes me quite sure that we are doing the right work is when I look at the people around us, the people that are involved, the people you've heard, our passionate earth defenders, our witnesses, the experts, etc. These are passionate, brave, wonderful, committed people who are changing the world, and I salute them all. We also have, of course, life on our side. That's those mysterious wild forces that have brought our universe into existence, that have created the extraordinary diversity of life around us. Because our role as humanity must surely be to contribute our voices to the wonderful song of life, to the harmony of the universe that arises from our earth, and to play our role in promoting and strengthening the health and integrity of the whole. And of course, we love this community of life. We are members of it. All of us in this room are involved in this work because of our attachment to the world, our love of nature, of those places that are special to us, of the animals and creatures that we grew up with. And that, the power that flows from that love is impossible to conquer. That is what will keep us going, and that is what will ensure that we triumph ultimately. But we must be practical. If we are to create the reality that we want to see, it will take organization, it will take solidarity, it will take building support for this tribunal. This is a people's tribunal. It is your tribunal. It is our tribunal. And we must take responsibility for making sure that it lives and grows in strength day by day. We must build local organizations that will bring cases. We must build regional forums so that we can have regional hearings throughout the world. We must find the funding to bring people together. And we must build support for the decisions of the tribunal so that ultimately they carry enormous force because of the weight of people behind them. So on the first day, Casey Camp mentioned that it was a good day, and Nemo repeated that. And I've been thinking about it. We have had 2 days of beautiful weather, hard to see in this room. I think that they have been good days. Good days not only for us, but good days for Mother Earth. Good days for the birds and the fishes and the forests. Because what has been happening here is that you are seeing the emergence of an ecological society. You are seeing a shift, a reorientation of many people towards supporting the health, integrity, and healing of the earth. We are beginning the process, those of us from the industrialized nations, of learning once more how to live in harmony with all of our relations. And I feel very encouraged by what has happened here over the past few days. And I'd like to end off by thanking those who have made this possible. First of all, on behalf of the Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature, I'd like to thank our allies who've co-hosted this event, Attack France, Nature Rights, and End Ecocide Europe. I'd also like to thank all the members of the tribunal, the judges, our wonderful earth defenders, who have all given of their time an enormous amount they've put aside their valuable time. There's been a huge amount of preparation behind the scenes to be here and to make this event happen. There have been very many people involved in creating this event. It's been done with very little money, but a huge amount of passion and energy from many people. There are too many people to mention all by name, but I would just like to, in particular, to pay tribute to a group of women who have really been at the center of making this happen. Natalia Green, Tribunal, to Osprey Oriel Lake, to Linda Sheehan, to Shannon, to Samantha, to Valerie, and there are many, many more. Please join me in thanking you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we embarked on an adventure which we weren't quite sure where it was going to lead, but I've been completely moved by the events of the past few days. It feels like we've been on a roller coaster, a runaway train. Things have happened. We didn't anticipate many of the things, but there's been an amazing power and energy in this room. And from the very first moments of the opening ceremony, where we dropped into a deeper space, and this room has generated an energy which has been quite extraordinary. And it's taken us through the 2 days, through the passion, through the sorrow, through the tears. And I'm sure it's going to take us forward into the future to great things. So thank you very much for your participation.